5. Characteristics of the outburst. These sudden outbursts are usually characterized by an extraordinary display of energy and courage. The new conquerors are normally poor, hardy, and enterprising, and above all, aggressive. The decaying empires which they overthrow are wealthy but defensive-minded. In the time of Roman greatness, the legions used to dig a ditch round their camps at night to avoid surprise, but the ditches were mere earthworks, and between them wide spaces were left, through which the Romans could counter-attack. But as Rome grew older, the earthworks became high walls, through which access was given only by narrow gates. Counter-attacks were no longer possible. The legions were now passive defenders. But the new nation is not only distinguished by victory in battle, but by unresting enterprise in every field. Men hack their way through jungles, climb mountains, or brave the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans in tiny cockle shells. The Arabs crossed the Straits of Gibraltar in AD 711 with 12,000 men, defeated a Gothic army of more than twice their strength, marched straight over 250 miles of unknown enemy territory, and seized the Gothic capital of Toledo. At the same stage in British history, Captain Cook discovered Australia. Fearless initiative characterizes such periods. Other peculiarities of the period of the conquering pioneers are their readiness to improvise and experiment. Untrammeled by traditions, they will turn anything available to their purpose. If one method fails, they try something else. Uninhibited by textbooks or book learning, action is their solution to every problem. Poor, hardy, often half-starved and ill-clad, they abound in courage, energy, and initiative, overcome every obstacle, and always seem to be in control of the situation. The causes of race outbursts. The modern instinct is to seek a reason for everything, and to doubt the veracity of a statement for which a reason cannot be found. So many examples can be given of the sudden eruption of an obscure race into a nation of conquerors, that the truth of the phenomenon cannot be held to be doubtful. To assign a cause is more difficult. Perhaps the easiest explanation is to assume that the poor and obscure race is tempted by the wealth of the ancient civilization, and there would undoubtedly appear to be an element of greed for loot in barbarian invasions. Such a motivation may be divided into two classes. The first is mere loot, plunder, and rape, as, for example, in the case of Attila and the Huns, who ravaged a great part of Europe from AD 450 to 453. However, when Attila died in the latter year, his empire fell apart, and his tribes returned to Eastern Europe. Many of the barbarians who founded dynasties in Western Europe on the ruins of the Roman Empire, however, did so out of admiration for Roman civilization, and themselves aspired to become Romans. A providential turnover? Whatever causes may be given for the overthrow of great civilizations by barbarians, we can sense certain resulting benefits. Every race on earth has distinctive characteristics. Some have been distinguished in philosophy, some in administration, some in romance, poetry, or religion, some in their legal system. During the preeminence of each culture, its distinctive characteristics are carried by it far and wide across the world. If the same nation were to retain its domination indefinitely, its peculiar qualities would permanently characterize the whole human race. Under the system of empires, each lasting for 250 years, the sovereign race has time to spread its particular virtues far and wide. Then, however, another people with entirely different peculiarities takes its place, and its virtues and accomplishments are likewise disseminated. By this system, each of the innumerable races of the world enjoys a period of greatness, during which its peculiar qualities are placed at the service of mankind. To those who believe in the existence of God as the ruler and director of human affairs, such a system may appear as a manifestation of divine wisdom, tending towards the slow and ultimate perfection of humanity. The course of empire. The first stage of the life of a great nation, therefore, after its outburst, is a period of amazing initiative and almost incredible enterprise, courage, and hardihood. These qualities often in a very short time produce a new and formidable nation. These early victories, however, are won chiefly by reckless bravery and daring initiative. The ancient civilization thus attacked will have defended itself by its sophisticated weapons and by its military organization and discipline. The barbarians quickly appreciate the advantages of these military methods and adopt them. As a result, the second stage of expansion of the new empire consists of more organized, disciplined, and professional campaigns. In other fields, the daring initiative of the original conquerors is maintained in geographical exploration. For example, in pioneering new countries, penetrating new forests, climbing unexplored mountains, and sailing uncharted seas. The new nation is confident, optimistic, and perhaps contemptuous of the decadent races which it has subjugated. The methods employed tend to be practical and experimental, both in government and in warfare, for they are not tied by centuries of tradition as happens in ancient empires. Moreover, the leaders are free to use their own improvisations, not having studied politics or tactics in schools or in textbooks. USA in the stage of the pioneers. In the case of the United States of America, the pioneering period did not consist of a barbarian conquest of an effete civilization, but of the conquest of barbarian peoples. Thus, viewed from the outside, every example seems to be different. But, viewed from the standpoint of the great nation, every example seems to be similar. The United States arose suddenly as a new nation, and its period of pioneering was spent in the conquest of a vast continent, not of an ancient empire. Yet the subsequent life history of the United States has followed the standard pattern which we shall attempt to trace. The periods of the pioneers, of commerce, of affluence, of intellectualism, and of decadence.